Right. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening with this session of Scout Lights. I'm Denise L, the current Senior Vice President of Membership for Mount Baker Council. And tonight I'm presenting 25 ideas for recruiting new Scouts. Hopefully you'll take away some ideas. I'm going to go through this at a fairly good pace because I want to kind of get to the end where you guys have plenty of time to ask questions and we can have some discussion because you might have another great idea that we want to make sure everybody gets to find out and hear about as well. So just for a couple freebies before we get to the 25, some basic necessities for all your units. Make sure your unit's Be a Scout pin is updated. If people are going online and they're doing a search, if it's not leading them to the right information, those are potential Scouts you could be using. It's very simple to go in and update it. In fact, I just was in a webinar with National last week, and they are making the way you can update it much more easier, and beyond just your key 3, you can add additional folks that can go in and make sure your pins are updated. And then also when you're getting those leads that come in from Be a Scout, make sure you're following up with those. That's a really good way to recruit new Scouts and get those into your programs. Having a new member coordinator is a great key position for your units as well too. Make sure they're registered and trained. Again, on here it mentions too about making sure you have an information packet for new families, contact information, just basics. If you've got new people coming into scouting and they might not understand uniforms and the financial obligations, things like that. So you want to make sure you have like a welcome packet type thing put together for your families as well. And then program, calendars, schedules, something that you can present to your families. So they see that you're kind of well structured, well organized. That will help you along your way as you recruit and bring in those new Scouts and new families. Okay, so we'll get started on the 25. The key 25, I guess. Business cards and buddy cards. I'm not sure if anybody currently uses them. I've seen some different units that have them. I put one on there that I pulled from a Facebook group. Simple as just join scouting. They've got their URL code on there and information on the backside of when they meet. Those are things that everybody can carry with them, your leaders, your parents, and then you can also create some for your Scouts to be able to pass out to kids they meet on their way or when they're out and about or playing with their friends. Door hangers, I think that was pretty popular with popcorn sales this year. I'm not sure if your unit has used that. You can set it up as a den or a patrol activity, so it's good for any type of unit. Put together very creative, colorful door hangers with your unit information and contact information, and set it up for an activity for a patrol or a den, with the proper supervision and safety, of course, through by the streets, and hanging those on doors in larger communities. You might have some people there that'll see you as you're walking around, and then also you'll have your contact information on the hangers so they can reach out if it's something they're interested in for their kids as well. Of course, social media and or having your own website. A lot of units have probably experienced that during this pandemic. The big way to get word out there was through social media, whether you have a Facebook page, making sure you're advertising your events, your own website, if you have one for your unit. You can also include like council website links, unit website links, any other informational website links for parents as well too, so they can find out more information about scouting, and then definitely how to reach your unit and how to get in contact with you guys. Please let me know if I do go too fast. I start to talk really fast. So, your uniform, that's like a walking billboard right there. I encourage your Scouts to wear it when you're doing events or community service, making sure it's neat and clean. If there's a day you can wear it at church, like Scout Sunday. And if the kids get back to school, or when they do, some of them are starting out if they haven't, having a day that they wear them to school so other kids will see them and ask about them as well too. This one I thought was pretty interesting is pizza boxes. If you reach out to your local pizza restaurant, maybe they'll let you provide them flyers that they can tape on top of the boxes. Maybe, obviously this would be a non-pandemic time frame when you can tour their facility, maybe volunteer to help fold some boxes and actually tape those little flyers onto their boxes before they're handing them out to their customers. Don't forget about your charter organization. They might have bulletin boards or an area for you to post pictures or meeting information, or even a designated scout board. So any of the families that come in through your charter organization, if it's a church or if it's a club or a community, if they have a bulletin or newsletter, adding your information on there, or an event, and maybe even if they had a Facebook page, letting them let you put information regarding your unit and what activities you have coming up. Tray liners kind of goes back to the pizza boxes. If you have contact with a restaurant that might have tray liners, or maybe even at school once kids are back in school, and then, sorry, lost my train of thought here. Yes, so if they're not serving lunch at school, which is right now, they're really not doing that. Many districts are offering school lunch distribution times once a week, and you can pick up your week's worth of food. You can see if you can put a short message in there, or flyer, or even maybe volunteer with your unit to assist with distribution. So funny, I started and I'm just skipping all my extra notes that I had written to go with these. Marquees, those are the electronic signboards you'll see. If you've got or know a business that has one, or even maybe your community centers in your towns that run electronic billboards, see if you could put a quick message on there about an event or an activity, or your next meeting, PAC meeting or troop meeting. Moving on to yard signs. We do have yard signs available in the Scout office if you want to post them in certain areas. There was a Scout bite, I believe, last month that's probably been recorded and is on the Mount Baker website that went over a lot of great details about your yard signs. You just want to make sure you're putting them in an appropriate place. High traffic areas are great, like your member yards. If you know any businesses where you could put them in there, if your school let you put it in there, maybe drive up where parents are coming through. Libraries or city halls. And then I posted or added this post here about an amazing Cub Scout lives here. So they're not even using it as a yard sign and joining scouting, but they're advertising that their scout is an amazing scout who lives there. So that's another way to take the yard signs and just move them to the next level besides just join us. Look who lives here, maybe they'll see it, maybe they'll inquire about it. Check out your local library. Maybe your unit, your Cub Scouts or your Scouts BSA can develop a bookmark with your contact information, and you can leave some at your local library. I know they're not doing really open time, but you can reserve books, so they can easily slip a bookmark into books as people are picking them up, especially if they know they're specific, like youth books or books geared toward teens. In times when libraries return to normal, maybe you can set up a display table or even volunteer to read at story hour, getting your scouts there in their uniforms, your leaders in their uniforms as well too. Family resources, look at who's in your units and see what affiliations they have with other groups. Those other groups might allow you to post flyers, put a sign in their window. You know, you want to look at what's available, what's readily there for you. Radio, check and see with your local radio and see if they'll do public service announcements or advertise a special event. I know there's also radio, what am I thinking of? It's the ham radios. I know that's a whole different type of item there, but those are all different avenues to look at as well too. Your local recreation centers, Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, there's always families coming through those. You can see if they'll let you leave flyers. Maybe there's a bulletin board you can post them on, or even just leaving a handful of the Boys Life mini magazines or Scouts Life mini magazines with a sticker on it that has your unit information, meeting times, locations, and contact information. Once things clear up and they're open for more activities, maybe your unit can volunteer to host an activity like a basketball clinic, again, getting out there and being very visible. Check out your local news publications. You can submit a photo, caption. I think photos are great because if you see it, it catches your eye right away. Maybe you can write an article as leadership, or even your older scouts can prepare an article to submit. Invite them to your events if you're doing a little bit of a larger event. Maybe just place an ad if you're going to do a community service event as well too. So when I think of local news publications, I'm thinking beyond just your newspapers. I know that in our community, I can't think of what it's called, but we get this like once a month, and it just has a few ads from businesses, and then it has like a community calendar. So just contacting them and seeing if you can put something out as well there too. This is a little bit early, but when you're handing out Halloween candy, if everyone in your unit hands out Halloween candy and you tape a card, like just a small card to your candy, that invites them to your next pack meeting or your next meeting or activity. Really easy to get out with that. Same thing with Easter. I know we don't hand out candy, but maybe you can put out Easter eggs. And I've seen a few units advertise, this is more at the troop level, as a fundraiser, an Egg My Yard event where it's a fundraiser. So you contact them, they'll fill up eggs, they'll put them in your yard, and they pay you like a fee for it. So, to make some extra money for your unit. And definitely make sure in those eggs you put your contact information for any events coming up. Service projects. It's always great when we see our scouts out in the community, helping, cleaning up, whatever they can do, schools, churches, local businesses. And while you're there, see if they'll let you put a flyer up in their window or leave some on the counter. Again, the uniforms, being visible, I think right now is it's great to see people out and about, and then to see them out in their uniforms is another plus there. Same thing with community events. Be visible, make sure you have your uniform on. Right now, these community events are probably, they're not happening like we're used to. There's no parades, there's no large gathering events. So some of these items you might have to table a bit, or better yet, how can you adapt them for the time frame that we're in? Sporting events. I know that some of our schools have returned with sports. They're limiting how many people can watch, things like that. But those should be coming online. Hopefully by fall we'll be ready to go. But you've got your community, youth and adult leagues, your high schools, junior highs, your college teams, attending in uniform, and then seeing if you can present the flags before their events begin. Maybe do a skit at halftime. Again, it's about the visibility. And then when you're out there, always have those little buddy cards or some type of business card or something small you can hand them that has your unit information on it. Sign spinners, haven't seen many of those for scouts, but how creative could that be? Instead of buying insurance, how about joining scouts? Recruiting activities. If we think about like fall recruitment, and we'll kind of get into that more as the year progresses, but you can recruit anytime. Recruiting should be kind of year round. Plan something once a month that you can invite people to, invite scouts and families, or plan something quarterly. The more dates you have, the more families that will be available. If the variety of activities will attract and appeal to more families as well too. So don't limit yourself to just one recruiting activity. You can schedule as many as you want. For religious education, you can check with your church, see if they'll teach religious emblem classes. See if your scouts can do a talk. Talk about duty to God. We talked about Scout Sunday as well too, if you're wearing your uniforms to church. So don't miss out on that area as well too. Community bulletin boards. How many of you have seen these when you go get your coffee? There's plenty of places there to put up a flyer where you can do a tear off, although those look a little bit sloppy, but how about leaving a bunch of your small buddy cards up there where someone can take that with them? They're in your grocery stores, they're in your coffee shops. They're in quite a variety of areas. Look and see what's out there and see how you can add to it. Flyers. Flyers are really good. Small scale, if you're doing an event or you're trying to get the word out or you're posting them in windows, there's templates available at the Scout office. you would go through your district director to place a request to have those printed. They're like I can show this here. I'm not sure how clear it is. They're like free with a picture, and then you would have your information added onto there. If you're trying to get flyers out through your school, many of them do something that's more electronic, like through Peach Jar or maybe Constant Contact. And you can get your flyer developed, and then they just send it out digitally. Usually the schools charge a fee with that. So check with and maybe target which schools you're going to send to, so you can keep your costs down as well. National BSA Marketing Resources, they have a marketing and membership hub where you can find the BSA Brand Center, and it's got all these templates ready to go. Anything you can think about. If you need a bookmarker, it's there. If you need a PowerPoint presentation border, it's there. Flyers are there, little mini videos, and all you can download those and then tailor them with your information, put them up on your Facebook pages, onto your any of your flyers, and just get those out to everybody as well too. There's also underneath their membership and marketing hub, there's a lot of great resources on how to help you recruit your scouts as well too. Sign up nights. I know we try to push a sign up night every fall for like our joy night or back to school nights. We're not quite sure how that will look this fall, if we're going to have to try to do something more virtual or if we're going to be able to go back to traditional ones. But I've heard of our units doing like drive-through sign up nights. I've heard of them virtual. So now is the time to start looking at that and start planning what you're going to do, keeping in touch with your schools. We don't know if we're going to be able to get into the schools in the fall. Again, our membership committee will be putting together another presentation or a webinar on fall joy nights and things like that. So you can watch for that. And then geofencing, if you're not familiar with it, it's a great way, what they call like to boost your events or boost what you're trying to do. And it's kind of centered around Facebook. You'll put your events on a Facebook page. This would be, if you had not your private one, but more of a public one. And it's not too expensive. It could be as little as $1 to $2 to boost that out. And you set your demographics on who you're trying to reach. And as they come across or in the area, it'll pop for them about your event and what's going on there. So there is a lot about geofencing, and actually right on Scouting Wire, you can go to that website, and there's a lot of good information out there. Really easy as far as step-by-step on how to do that as well. A couple other things I wanted to mention as far as tips go. Again, recruiting is a little different right now. It's not as easy as going out there and setting up an information table at a large event. So be flexible. You know, we can adapt. We're scouters. We know how to adapt. Consider your audience. Who are you trying to reach? You know, what age group? Where are you at that you're looking for folks? Think outside the box. These are just ideas, but every time I go through the list, I think, oh, it would be great. We could try this, or oh, we could try this. You can, the more outside the box, the more creative you get, the more opportunities you'll have. And then find others and let them help you. One person cannot do it. If you can get together a team, whether it be your leadership, your new member coordinator, parent volunteers, the more people that help, the more you can get out there and get more participation. And then getting away from that mindset of, no, this is how we've always done it before. You know, look outside, reach outside your comfort zone and see what else you can come up with on that. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen at the moment so we can hopefully bring up everything bigger. A couple things, I know I showed you the flyer templates. I know this is hard to really kind of see, but there's a variety. And these are the ones that were at the Scout office. So there's a variety there. Same thing with these little like adventure cards. This side's got some nice graphics on it, and then on here you can just put your own information. But it's very easy to make your own little mini business card for your unit. When we had our local Troop for Girls start, they were coming on board in February. So March is Mardi Gras. We put together these Mardi Gras beaded necklaces. And there's a little piece of paper on here that just says when they meet, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. at what location, and gave a bunch of these to all the girls in the troop that they can just hand out to their friends. So again, it's just kind of reaching outside the box, thinking outside the box, adapting what we can, what we're used to doing, and how we can fit that in with in the area of face masks and social distancing as well there. That's pretty much what I have. Questions, ideas, suggestions. We'll open up the mic.
Hi, I had a bad internet connection at the start. Will this be a link that I can watch it again?
Yeah, I'm recording this and it will be available on the Mount Baker website.
Okay. And you had, I heard you mention a welcome packet. I'm new, so I'm just learning about Scouts, and my goal is to get more girls in the girls troop. And so where would I find the welcome packet information? What website?
I would just start with Googling Scouts BSA welcome packet and see there's so many units that have put their stuff online. And then also there are a ton of Facebook groups. And that's where I'll get a lot of my ideas, because there's always somebody sending out the same question you have. Somebody else has already posted that, and everybody is so sharing in the scouting community because we're all here and we all know the value and want to get as many kids in. But there is one, I'm trying to find it specific to, there's one, you know.
The other thing to consider with welcome information is to look at that YouTube, strangely enough. Sometimes videos are a little bit easier for people to digest. And so if you send out a informational, hey, this is what scouting is, this is what scouting does. There's a council in Iowa, I think it's the Cedar Rapids Council, who's done a whole series of like, welcome to scouting. What does it mean to be a whatever level scout? And there are short, like 2-3 minute videos that might just be a little more digestible and a lot less hands-on than handing somebody an actual.
Is that on YouTube, Eric?
Yeah, YouTube. I don't know the direct link, but you know,
Yeah,
they're all
searchable. Yeah, there's a Scouts BSA Girl Troop Facebook page, and it's all just troops for girls. There are leaders on there and stuff as well too. There's Cub Scout volunteers, there's Boy Scout volunteers. There's everything is just readily available. And like I said, if you just put that out there, hey, does someone have a sample welcome packet? I can see everybody is really, really generous with sending you their copies, so you can kind of filter through and pick out what you're looking for, the best of the best that will fit together for your unit.
So those Cedar Rapids, Iowa videos, is it generic enough that I can just reuse them, or do they personalize
absolutely. It's done by a council, actually. Yeah, it's done by a council. And so like they did a pretty good job of just like, hey, welcome to scouting. What the heck is a scout troop? Like, and they kind of go through some of the like glossary terms that everyone's going to run into on their first day. But it's a little bit like a parent orientation, just in short form videos instead. Not quite TikTok length, but more adult friendly 5-minute versions, aka what I watch on YouTube when I'm not watching, you know, woodworking videos and that.
And then at Nationals on their website as well too, they have videos ready to go too that are just generic advertising ones that you can pull down and use at any time as well too. They're short and to the point, and they're just very well put together.
Okay. Do you know, I'm one of those people who don't really know how to use Facebook. And is there like a tutorial that BSA provides on how to create a public Facebook page?
That's a good question. I know they have information out on the geofencing, and they're starting to do what they call, it's like Tech Tuesdays, and they're putting on different webinars as well too, and cover a lot of topics. And I know I've attended so many, but I'm pretty sure they've covered Facebook in one of them. But if not, it could be something that's coming up. And you can find those also on the BSA. It's like scoutingwire.org. you can go over there and they'll have a lot of that information available. And all their webinars as well are recorded and available afterwards as well too. So if you don't actually get to sign up and attend them, you can view them.
Okay. And that's on the National BSA Marketing Resources website?
It's a market, they have a marketing and membership hub. And
Okay.
I can see, I will try to see if I can share that. So bear with me. Can you guys see that?
Okay.
So
Mhm.
this is Scouting Wire. And then there's a marketing and membership hub here. They have the brand center, which you'll find all your graphics, and like I said, flyer templates, bookmark templates, videos, things like that. I'm just afraid, I don't want to slow everything down if I start playing around with this, but there's a lot of information readily available. It's got the marketing membership hub, and then you can go in specific to logos, Scouts BSA, scouting at home assets, you know, and downloadable branding guidance there.
Does anyone, so I'm focused on the girls troop and the girls pack. Does anyone have any specific ideas for just the education of the adults on what? There's a girls part of BSA?
I know that was covered when it first came out, and making sure everyone was using the correct terminology with Scouts BSA instead of, you know, Boy Scouts and troops type thing. Some of that information will still be available on their websites as well.
Okay.
I haven't checked the chat, Joni. Have you seen anything there?
No, the only things have been, well, actually from Eric and I, just giving a couple of website addresses.
Oh, okay, great.
Your presentation will also be available as well, right? Your PowerPoint?
Yeah, I can send that to you guys to post it. I think a lot of it too is, like I said, just being visible. How large is your troop for girls?
5.
So it's a good start there, but getting them out in the community and visible, again, within the social distancing guidelines will help.
Mhm.
And then are you partnered with a pack that's already like a family pack?
Yeah.
Okay. So those will eventually migrate into the troop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking on the Mount Baker website and I'm not seeing anything that sticks out as far as back when we started adding girls, but we can probably find that for you, Karen, and send that out. Would you
Okay.
like us to do that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Also, do you recommend, you said recommend creating a Facebook page for the troop. What about a website?
Websites are great also. Anything to get your word out. With so many people being online with all their meetings and school and work, it's just readily available to get it out there, sending out emails or posts or, yeah, as long as you're just making sure, you know, guidelines.
I do caution you about privacy aspects of those though. So if you do create a website, make sure that there's, you know, like any private information, pictures and all of that stuff you need to log in to get to it. Whereas, you know, like the public can see, you know, your home screen and a couple other things. Right. But you don't necessarily want to post your calendar as far as, you know, hey, all of our scouts are going to be camping at this location on this date.
Oh, no. I was just thinking of a website that's purely for marketing.
Right.
Right.
So for marketing purposes. So does the Mount Baker Council or the national organization provide like a web hosting service, like, you know, like a template, just say, so that you can just, you know, it has everything, you can just use a template?
I don't remember seeing anything. Do you, Denise?
I know there's templates for just about everything, videos like that you can use. I'm going to ask Eric, because 2 months ago, Eric did one about promoting your unit virtually. Do you know anything?
Were there directions on how to create a Facebook?
Well, I was
That's
at the website.
More than
No.
likely, you'll have a parent that might know how to do that as well too.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was also wondering, you had talked about yard signs were available at the Scout office. Where's the Scout office?
The Scout office is in Everett.
Oh, okay.
What area are you in?
Whidbey Island.
Okay, so Sven Gilkey is your district director.
Okay.
If you reach out to him, he will get some signs because he's up in Bellingham, and maybe you can coordinate a time to meet versus having to come all the way down to Everett.
Karen, take a look at the chats. I just put in Sven's email address, and also the Mount Baker
Okay, great.
Council and the Mount Baker Council website. Oh, did I not? That's not in there yet. I meant to put that in there. I will also put that in there.
Keep seeing all these things from Eric Viewer. He's a busy man tonight.
Oh, he is a busy man. And Eric Westphal, you're pretty good at walking the dog and finding websites at the same time. I'm impressed.
Let's just say I have a lot of experience looking at YouTube videos over the last, I don't know, year and a bit. But it's not my usual stuff. Usually I'm looking at teaching myself how to do Python or looking at cool woodworking or interesting cars. This is kind of the secondary to look at scouting BSA. If you go to that second link though, the one about girls, that does a pretty good job. It's just shy of 4 minutes, and it's kind of a video of like, hey, what does it mean now that we have girls in scouting, and what type of opportunities are being specially designed and retrofitted so that girls feel comfortable in the community of scouting. So that's a nice one for your scout troop that you're working on developing. The other thing I'll say is that is the BSA communications team. And so on that channel, there's like a dozen or so that are probably really useful. So if you're not just working on that for the other people on this call, if you're working on other groups recruiting, that BSA communications team has a number of videos all in that same 4-minute-ish length, as well as the first video, which I showed you, which is actually just from the Scouts BSA national headquarters. And so that's under their Scout Talks. But there's a lot of videos of like hype videos too. So depending on how you need to utilize them, if you need like a minute-long cut of cool action adventures with Scouts who have been approved for for photo usage, all of those videos are already available. So don't work too hard to make sure that your privacy is being considered appropriately for your Scouts. A lot of these things have already been cleared by the National Council or from Mount Baker Council. And you can utilize a lot of those stock footage and stock videos as part of your whatever it may be, whether it's a flyer or it's a multimedia, maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation you're giving on your first day of your meeting. Don't feel like you always need to go the long route. Sometimes it's okay to not have videos of your own kids. They're usually done with better production value anyway. No shots meant, just like truth.
And then with that, they have like troops for girls, troops for boys, videos specific. And then at the Cub Scout level, they have, packs that are for boys, packs that are for girls, and those that are family packs. So you can find the videos that cover what your units, how your makeup of your unit is. And they're really,
exactly.
they're very well put together.
And did you say that with the adventure cards that there's financial help with printing them?
So not for the little business cards. I'd have to look. These ones here that I have a few samples of, these are pre-printed and they're black, there's lines on the back. Most of our stuff is geared towards Cub Scouts because that's where we try to target, because we know that the Cub Scouts will filter into our troops. But you can find any kind of template to put together and print out your own type thing. Now, the flyers, these template type here, most of these ones like this were geared towards the Cub Scout level. And then there's kind of a generic one about just adventure that you can use for the older scouts. It just gives you this much portion to be able to put information together. So you would type up your template of what you want on the bottom there and send it over to your district director to forward to the office. So it's just, it depends on how many flyers we have available. There's generally a pretty good amount. They're not going to print like 500 flyers for you. Looking at what we've been doing over this past year, everything's been so much more digital or electronic versus hard copy. So you can certainly put together and maybe get 50 or 75 printing type thing, and they'll print them for you. But they do that all at the Everett office, so we're just coordinated getting out to you where you're at Whidbey Island.
Yeah, on
Okay.
Whidbey, I might also recommend just going to some of the local print shops. They probably are pretty dying for business right now, and they might either give you a good deal or give you a free deal for one of these smaller orders, as long as you like speak well of them in the community. So it's one of those things. It's like, scouting does a lot of work to make sure that we're building good young people, and those good young people want to have positive relationships with local businesses. And so some of those local businesses might give you the benefit of the doubt, just like I know Denise was mentioning the Pizza boxes with flyers taped to the top. Same idea could go for your local, I don't know, printing copy. Whidbey printing copy.
Or maybe even check with your chartered organization and see if they are able to cover the cost of your flyers if you wanted to print some. I know there was another troop that put together their own little trifold flyer that they did, and they pulled stuff off of BSA's website and put together a really colorful trifold two-sided color flyer that they printed out on their own and stuff. So we're not a printing company at the office there. We have limited abilities, but like I said, there's a lot of resources, and you might even have a parent that has a connection and can get those printed for you as well too. I know we have a troop and we do Christmas tree sales, and we have a parent that happens to work for like a printing company and is able to get us a really good discount when we print all of our nice colorful flyers to advertise our trees.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say on flyers is just, I want to warn you all, like it's one of those things that's easy enough to just look past or forget about. So try and maybe think about a little more creative way to apply that information in a handout. We were successful. I've seen successful in the past where you go, and sorry about the wind, where you go to an event where you're handing out candy at a parade. Now this probably doesn't work right now, but it might start working in the fall. And on that whatever it is, dum-dum, you give the kid, it also has a little thing that has a flag and says, hey, we meet at this time and we do these types of activities or something like that, where you can go through and you can print off one page of those stickers and maybe get a higher rate of return, 30 full page flyers. Just something to consider. Try and be creative, because those are going to stick with people and probably land a little bit better too.
So here in Coopville on Whidbey Island, I don't think anyone even knows that there is a girls troop and a girls pack in BSA. And so do you have any ideas on just how to you gave these 25 things, but how would you phase it or stage it, and I'm just trying to figure out what would have the most impact.
I would try through your schools if they're sending out any constant contact flyers or information through your school.
Yeah, they are.
I would do that, check and see, because some of them, like I said, use Peach Jar, which does cost per school, but you might want to check even with the PTEA or PTSA and see if they're willing. Maybe they could put a blurb on their newsletter or something like that. Any local businesses that have high traffic areas that would have the families that you're looking for, the target area, and put information out there as well too. Same thing like with the coffee shops. If that's a high traffic area for families that you think have, scouts, Cub Scout level age girls, same thing with your troops for girls. Any place you can put something in their window as well. Once, like I said, they're back to school, it's a little different where you might be able to put a few flyers in the counselor's office or Are you adding something, Eric?
So I would suggest, get some background stuff done, like, I have a phone number for them to contact and an email for them to contact. If you want to create a website, create your website, do all of that background stuff. And then, all these ideas that Denise had about, flyers on business windows and that kind of thing, the yard signs, whatever it is, but do all that. And then maybe have, there's a lot of people doing these drive-through events that can be socially distant, and have an event and then advertise it, and then just, see what you can get out of that, and just, just start there is what I would do.
And what would you recommend for an event?
You want to do, so are you the Scouts BSA age or Cub Scout age? Because it really depends.
11 to 17.
So, okay, so the older kids. I'm not as good at the recruiting on that end of it, but, have, like, help me out here, Denise, at the older level.
So you have your 5 girls, you said, and definitely see if they can bring a friend to a meeting or an activity. And then also, if any of them are participating in sports, maybe reach out to those folks as well too, the other young ladies that are doing the sports as well too, and say, hey, we're going to be doing this event. Maybe you're doing, and it is kind of hard because the events have to be, socially distanced. But I know that there's a lot of creative. I'm trying to think, what's the last one I saw that was really, oh, this one I saw, there was a unit that put together, if they kind of knew, so maybe you have some of your scouts that know another scout or a potential scout. And what they did was they like put an invitation on their yard, like with some balloons and, a little flyer, hey, come to our next meeting type thing. Maybe not as elaborate as balloons and stuff, because if you're short on a budget, you want to keep it minimal. But even there's the door hangers in a certain area, if you knew that had a higher teenage population or that younger or young adult, female population that you could target there. It's looking at where they're at. Again, it is very challenging because they're not really hanging out at pizza places. They're not hanging out at certain areas because we're limited with the social distancing. But I would start with your current scouts as well too. Make sure they have some of those little cards to hand out to a friend of theirs or a friend of a friend, and invite them to your next meeting, whether it be a virtual meeting or an in-person socially distanced meeting. It just needs to kind of be something to get them together, doing an activity or something outside for sure, if that's something that your girls are really interested in. But it is a little challenging now. And maybe talk to your scouts. They might have great ideas on how to do that. And they are the ones at the Scouts BSA age, they can develop your flyers for you as well too. You would be amazed at the skills and talents our young folks have. Same thing with Facebook. I bet you could ask your scouts and they could give you a little bit of background information, to get you started on that as well too. Instagram, Twitter, all those other ones as well too. Again, as long as you're doing it within guidelines and not spreading it out through, Privacy Act and things like that.
So I really hate to break this off, but they're going to need this Zoom account soon. So I am going to have to break it off.
All right. I will email you the presentation, Joni, so you guys can post that.
Okay. Alrighty. Karen, I did not get your email address, and I know that I was going to get, I was going to send you something, but then Eric actually sent a link that would answer anything that I have. So if you need anything, just let us know. Denise, did you want to stick your email address on the chat bubble?
I can.
And I will do the same. And you can, I would say for any recruiting, definitely reach out to Denise. I am here as support for her right now. So she is the one with all the knowledge.
Right. make sure I don't have any typos, otherwise I'll never see it. But certainly email me with any questions. Eric is part of our membership as well, our membership committee as well. So we have a variety of different backgrounds and skills, and we are happy to help you get the word out.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Joni, for
All right, thank you very much, Denise. I really appreciate your doing this for us today.
yeah, you guys have a good evening.
All right, thanks. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.